Call the meeting to order. So there's the December Board of Delegates meeting, first half of the board meeting. Welcome everybody. See you in person and online. I'm back as chair, so I'd like to give a thank you to Vice Chair for very capably handling things while I was taking a vacation. Thank you very much. Let's go straight. Oh, sorry. I should introduce again to those of you who weren't here last month. We have Lem here as parliamentarian. So Lem's job is to help us keep the meeting under order and answer any questions about parliamentary procedure and Robert's rules. So I will lean on him whenever I have a question. And if anyone else has questions about parliamentary procedure that come up during the meeting, just raise your hand and we can redirect them to Lem. Thank you. Move on to roll call, please.
Okay. Lizzie Newell. Don't think this up, but Airport Heights, Emily.
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Oh, thank you. Let me just make sure my volume is fully up. Bayshore Clat. Did I see Dirk or Dawn?
That's Basher Community Council.
Oh, sorry, Basher.
Dirk here.
Hey, Dirk, thank you. Now Bayshore Clat, Ryan, welcome.
Yep, here.
Bear Valley, Caitlin. Campbell Park is not able to make it tonight. Do we have Chukiak? Anyone? Don't think so. Okay. Downtown. Sylvia?
I'm here.
Thank you, Sylvia. Eagle River Cliff.
Here. Good evening.
Thank you. I don't think I saw, is there Eagle River Valley tonight? Not yet. Okay. Fairview, Kelly? Yes. Thank you. Girdwood, Jen, welcome.
Thank you.
Government Hill, Bob.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone from Hillside? Anyone from Huffman O'Malley? Okay. Midtown, Rosemary, welcome. Mountain View, Charlie. Yeah. North Star, I saw Jade and Donovan. Jade, are you our delegate tonight?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Northeast, Pamela.
Present.
Thank you. Old Seward Ocean View, Gary.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Rabbit Creek. I don't think so yet. Rogers Park. Russian Jack, Kathleen. Thank you. Sand Lake, Carrie. Here. Thank you. Scenic Foothills, Roger.
Here.
Thank you. South Edition, John.
Yes.
Thank you. Spinard, Sarah.
Here.
Thank you. Taku Campbell, Sarah.
Here.
Thank you. Turnigan, Kathy.
Here.
Thank you. Turnigan Arm, Michael.
Here.
Thank you. And University Area, Steve.
I'm here online.
Thank you. And I also saw Joy join us from Eagle River Valley, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
We have 23, we have quorum, and if anybody else joins, I'll let the body know.
Excellent. Thank you. So now we can move on to consent agenda. So we have approval of the agenda and approval of two sets of minutes. The minutes from the special meeting on November the 18th and the regular meeting on November the 19th. So I'd entertain a motion to both approve the agenda and approve the minutes.
I'd like to do a motion to change the agenda.
Okay.
Um,
I'm waiting.
on the topic of addressing the status of the legitimate chair of the FCC.
Okay. I need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Where do you want to put that on the agenda?
Where do we feel it is most appropriate?
Right after the consent.
Yeah, I think next probably, something sense, 2.5.
We can approve the agenda and the minutes and then address it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll do that before the discussion topic. If we get
Recognizing,
the vote.
I'm so sorry, recognizing Caitlin from Bear Valley has joined on.
Okay, so we have an agenda amendment in front of us. Does anyone object to that agenda amendment?
We're doing by assent
We'll
or?
do it by assent if nobody objects. I'm not seeing any objection online. So we now have we have the modified agenda in front of us. And approval of minutes. So again, I'm going to take them both together. So can I get a motion to, well, we had a motion to approve both. So can we have a vote on that, please? So this would be to both approve the amended agenda and the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Again, we'll do that by assent. Anyone object to approve the agenda, the amended agenda and minutes? No? Okay, thank you. Excellent. So we got through the consent agenda. So next item would be the status of chair. So I will ask you to start this.
Why?
Because I think we had some, actually,
Should we hand over?
yeah, I'll hand over the chair for the start of the process. So why don't you take that over?
Okay.
So then I can speak to it.
Oh, I'm sorry, that means I'm the chair now.
Yeah.
Okay, Carrie, it's your motion. Would you like to speak to it?
So I have great concern of the status of the chair. It was not addressed, when, the Chair Edgington was removed from the seat for 1 month. And the purpose of that was for the body to discuss fully understand the situation. And I do feel that there have been several delegates that have been trying to communicate the situation and that has been disregarded completely. So I do feel that the situation absolutely needs to be discussed. There has a lot been happening at GBOS and at the LUC. I would like clarification. I'm from the executive director, proof of the eligibility of the chair.
All right, would you like to respond? Or Mike, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I can respond initially. Thank you for the question. So the delay, my understanding was the motion for temporary to change chair was so we could clarify it, so GBS could clarify it, which it has done. There was a vote at LUC, there was a vote at GBOS. The determination is that we're going to continue with the process we used to have of allocating the particular role of land use supervisor as our delegate going forward. So that was the reason I was originally in that position. And any questions about the eligibility or my initial position has been resolved because GBOF did not accept that I was not a delegate and not appointed delegate. So as far as GBOS is concerned, the position of the body is that. Sorry, I'm speaking mostly to the delegates. Apologies. So the position of GBOS as minuted is that I have been the delegate in the past. We changed the delegate over. And that's it. So.
I'm sorry, Jennifer.
If I may, that is a false representation of what was decided. The Greater Board of Supervisors did decide that we did not actively have a delegate. Since we did actively have a land use supervisor, clearly we did not decide that whoever was land use supervisor was automatically a delegate. So that is incorrect. It is also incorrect that we decided that the candidacy had been legitimate in the past. There is no situation in which self-election is a legitimate way to become a, just as a good list. So I'm so sorry for this confusion, and I'm so sorry to drag you into this stuff, but that is not accurate. The public record clearly shows that the self-election happened prior to any discussion at LUC. Unfortunately, the public record also shows that it is not true that other people were not interested in the position. And what is shown in the public record is that the person in question self-elected to the voting role and was only interested in finding an alternate. But the most important part of it is that Girdwood at that time indicated some ambivalence about having a delegate to FCC, and that ambivalence continues, so that conversation still needs to happen. But it is not true that, I'm sorry, but it is not true that Mike was ever our elected delegate. And that is very, very clear in the public.
All right. Mike, I've got you next in the queue, but
Okay.
Ari, do you have information to assist in this?
Yeah, so our understanding as staff is that in 2001, Mike reached out and said, I'm the delegate. At the time, you were co-chair, correct? Yeah, you were co-chair of GPOS.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
You said 2001.
Nope, 2021.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Very clear correction.
Sorry.
In 2021, as is pretty standard for us, unless their bylaws say otherwise, chairs are allowed to self-appoint themselves as delegates. We have never told them that they couldn't. And so that was the communication at the time. Totally understand that the GBOS has changed, in which case we updated the delegate appropriately. That's as far, it predates my position in this organization. So Mike has been a delegate before I was on the body.
I have a point of information. Should this issue be for an executive session?
That's a fair question.
Oh, and I'm supposed to rule on it. No?
Ask
It's really up to the body to decide if someone wants to move to an executive session. And if not, then
Would anyone like to move to an executive session? Hearing nothing. Mike, I've got you next in the queue and then Catherine.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm afraid to say that Jennifer has misrepresented things that happened at GBOS. Yes, Jennifer misrepresented the events at GBOS. There was a question in front of GBOS about whether they accepted the language that I was not appointed a delegate, and GBOS rejected that language. So there was a very clear determination. That is not the case. And I think the retroactive decisions which we're hearing today are referred recently are a little disappointing. I was delegate. I consulted with my co-chair at the time. I consulted with staff at the time, put my staff forward as delegate. Discussed it with MC. It's minuted. There shouldn't be any doubt apart from this retroactive decision or attempt to try and change the process 2 or 4 years later. So we have a delegate now, which is Jennifer, rightfully. And we've had a delegate in the past, which was me, rightfully.
Okay. Kathy, I've got you next in the queue and then Carrie.
Yes, I've just has the Federation of Community Councils and Delegates received the written documentation that you're referring to, like minutes of the meeting, so that we can see for ourselves what transpired.
Yeah, we did get them. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I was not recognized.
Ari,
If I
Did
can
you
jump
receive
in the
them?
line, we did receive them. I can get them printed. We didn't have them. Because they're born on the agenda, so.
I think that would be really helpful for the
Great.
body, because it's really coming across like the information should be shared.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. Yes, thank you.
And then I have a question. Has anyone here been self-appointed? Ari, yourself, please.
Yes, our bylaws specifically state that the president is the delegate, or the president can assign another officer as the delegate to the Federation of Community Council.
But your bylaws say that.
Our bylaws say that.
And so G-Boss.
So I answered your question.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna
But there is a
request that
difference.
folks send questions to the chair. Okay,
Yeah.
so Ari's gonna get. You did that already?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so Ari has the papers.
Ally.
Thank you, Ari. Take it through Ally. Thank you, Ally.
We'll get them for online as well. Apologies, I gotta find. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Can I also answer Carrie's question?
Yes, ma'am, please do.
Okay, so I have the list of all community councils that do not directly state the FCC delegate. So Abbott Loop self-appoints. Basher, I believe, has appointed somebody, and then their president serves as alternate, so he's here tonight. Bayshore Clat does not directly state the FCC, so their president appoints somebody. Birchwood does not directly state the FCC. Downtown, Eagle River, Fairview, Girdwood, Glen Alps, Huffman O'Malley, Russian Jack, Sand Lake, South Fork, Taku Campbell, Tudor, and Turnigan Arms. So all of those are either the president or their appointee.
Could
Can
you,
I respond to that?
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I can't find my hand. This is Northeast, and so we are in that list. I'm sorry, Ari, I didn't hear. Were we included?
I miss some.
Where is Northeast?
Yours actually talks about the federation, so we don't include it. It says the president and or his designee shall serve as representative to the federation. So I was just listing councils that don't have a delegate listed in their bylaws entirely, in which case the president is the de facto representative in
Thank
that
you for
scenario.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay, I see Jennifer, and then I have a question from Mike. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Thank you. I'm a little disappointed to hear this, as I clarified with Ariana months ago, over a month ago. While that may be the case for other community councils, the Girdwood Board of Supervisors Rules and Procedures, Article 4A, under chair, specifically states that in the case of having two elected co-chairs, which has been our case for years, the co-chairs will share, and the duties enumerated in this article, and then it leads to enumerate the articles, and none of which include FCC. One, none of them include FCC. Two, specifically, it states that it's shared. So while I appreciate this precedent, as I explained to you before, our rules and procedures specifically say that it's shared. So one person doesn't get to decide. Now, I understand that that's different from other community councils, and I respect their process. I would appreciate our process, our rules and procedures being respected as well. Now, furthermore, for those of you who are checking out the minutes, this decision was made under agenda item 11. And the motion was made that when GBOS amended the LUC motion, and here's one thing I want to make sure everyone understands. Our LUC is the equivalent of most community councils. The Board of Supervisors has been designated as the ex officio community council. But in terms of the community council that actually functions as a community council, the way everybody else is familiar with, that's our LUC. So our LUC voted the exact language that you will see here, that whereas there is no evidence of an official appointment or election of an FCC delegate from Girdwood since 2020, the Girdwood Land Use Committee agrees that what it should have said is that we did not have a delegate since 2021. Now, GBOS simply got rid of that, but Mike is making the statement that we therefore decided he was legitimate, and that is not. We just decided that it was easiest to say we don't have one right now and let's move on. But that didn't amount to saying, okay, whoever it was that self-elected 4 years ago was good and all good and gold, right? So we have maintained language that there is no evidence of an official leader.
Okay, I'd like to give Mike.
In fact, but I'm sorry, just one other thing and then I'll be done. There is no evidence of an appointment And that self-appointment is not allowed by our bylaws.
Okay, I've got Mike and then I got John.
Again, there's a lot of misinformation coming from Jennifer here, which is very disappointing here again.
Excuse me.
I appreciate that.
A little
Mike has the floor.
He does, but
You've done a lot of
may-
work on this and.
You may
that's an
disagree.
unusual thing.
But I'm done with you telling me I'm the lawyer in the room.
There is misinformation being presented by.
Isn't there though?
There is misinformation. being
I
presented
have
by-
one thing to
I'd
say.
like to finish. I'd like to finish my
Mike has the floor. Mike has
So-
the floor, then I will call on John.
I just heard that, the decision had to be made by co-chairs. I had the agreement by co-chair at the time. There is a different person to you, Jennifer. I don't know if you checked with him, but he has a recollection of that conversation. It's not written down, but we had that discussion. I also had the discussion with staff that was written down. I provided that in previous records. The land use at the time noted that I was acting as delegate. There was no objection at the time. We continued that discussion on and off for the remaining year, for the best part of the year, to see if anyone else wanted to take that role. There were two people initially expressed some interest, then decided not to do it. We've had, I think, two people so far. I and another co-chair have attended various meetings in the last few years here. So GBOS took out the language saying there was no legitimate delegate. So the record speaks, and the record minutes of LUC say there was a delegate for FCC, which was myself. And again, if we followed the process at the time, LUC has not always been the most formal organization. Formality sometimes gets in the way of engagement. So there are often not votes on things. Things are done by consent and agreement. And that was an example of it. And it's disappointing to see the aims of the intent of having a less formal and more engaged community group be used to be weaponized against, in this case, against me, but potentially against others.
Okay, John.
I'm confused. Is there a motion on the floor?
Yes.
And is there a limit to the amount of this discussion, a time limit?
We did not set one in the beginning.
Can we set a time limit?
Someone could make a motion.
I would like to make a motion of no confidence
You have
in the
not yet
chair.
been recognized. I'm sorry. John has the floor.
I think we.
You did ask if someone would like to make a motion. That is what you just said.
Yeah.
Would someone like to make a motion? I would like to make a motion.
Okay, John is seated. Yes.
I would like to make a motion of no confidence in the chair due to the fact that the chair was not a legitimate delegate at the time of his election to the chair position and because of unethical misrepresentation to GBOS and LUC and other delegates for over 5 years. His chairmanship needs to be terminated due to misconduct effective
Okay.
immediately. No, I'm done with this. Is my motion.
The whole thing is, that's.
This is my motion. Furthermore, is to be permanently ineligible to serve as a delegate or any other elected or voluntary member on the board of delegates or FCC board or any subcommittee of either because of his breach of trust due to statutory ethical duties. Never once, it's also not on record that he reported back. It is the FCC delegate's duty to report back to their community council, and it is also not on record. I don't appreciate being.
Okay, so you're speaking to the motion now, and I actually
Yeah,
need a
sorry,
second.
sorry.
To it first.
I'll take the document just to type it up so we can put it, because there's a lot of language.
I'll
Okay,
second,
for the-
so that we can.
So for the sake of having it on the record, the motions, there is a motion on the floor for a vote of no confidence in the chair. Abbreviated, more language to come. Seconded by Kathy.
Yes.
Would either Harry or Kathy like to speak to it?
I'm sorry, I was,
Sorry.
This site you already have. Yes.
one quick thing, I just want to note that the clarification that GBOS and Luke for 5 years did not know that Mike Edgington was the self-appointed delegate. He never reported back.
I'm sorry, if I may pause you just for a second, I've been informed that no
Okay.
confidence is not in Roberts. It would need to be removal.
Point of removal. Do I need to read it again? Into removal.
So your motion,
Just-
I believe the only. thing that needs to be would
Motion
be
of removal
motion
of the
To
chair.
remove. the
Motion
chair.
of removal of the chair. With the same verbiage.
You moved to amend it to that. I'll second that.
Does it need to be seconded or just?
Sort of an amendment, it's a restatement by the very,
Okay.
so the motion's proper and.
Yes,
The way
thank
it
you
is, yeah.
for clarifying.
Yeah.
Everything.
Point of information.
Yes.
Can you enlarge that? I will.
The motion on the floor is just for removal. It is not the other language that was initially stated about barring the chair from future service on boards. Is the motion on the floor just for the removal?
The motion on the floor is the whole,
That's why I'm
the
typing.
language entire.
Correct.
Yeah, let's wait for it to be typed test before we have discussion, so we are all discussing.
Typing as fast as I can.
Question.
We're gonna wait till she is done, so that we can start discussion, but we're all discussing the same words.
Okay.
So I did see Kathy, then Charlie, then Brian.
Yep. Wire. Yeah, I'm also. Yeah.
One, two, one.
Yeah. You see, that's why they won't be the same, like, there's a couple of different.
Okay, I'm done, and we see that, I just scratched, so for the record, I just scratched out what she had originally written and it's included. In bold is the change, so that we can continue to have that stuff.
Okay, I got Kathy, Charlie, Ryan, and I see Sylvia after Ryan. Kathy, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to ask our parliamentarian, does the second of the motion have to approve that change as well, or do I just back off?
I checked with him and he said no, but you can elaborate on the no.
If you don't want to second it with it being worded that way, you could withdraw your second and see if there's someone else who has a second, now that it's been corrected. Stated.
Charlie.
Okay, first question I have is. At the time Mike was elected. He was recognized by the FCC as the representative for Girdwood, correct?
I wasn't clear. Who can answer that question?
He was participating member, we don't have like. Other than,
He was recognized as a delegate from Girdwood
yeah, by
Okay.
other delegates.
by, yes,
Yeah.
by the FCC. By this group,
The board,
okay.
yeah.
So. Rather than have. The FCC group of delegates decide who is the representative from each of the. Different community councils. Mike was accepted as the representative, he was elected as chair. While he was accepted. So therefore, I don't think that it's our position to determine who is the representative from Girdwood. That's not particular to this body. What's particular to this body is that Mike was elected. Even if he is no longer accepted as the representative from Girdwood, he was still elected as the chair. So therefore, what we're arguing about, that's something that should be taken care of in Girdwood's housekeeping. Mountain View shouldn't have anything to do with who's a representative from Girdwood, is how I see it.
Thank you. Ryan and Michael, I do see your hand. I'll follow you when you get it. Ryan and Bob.
So I guess I'm just trying to piece together all this as an alternate Bay Shore class. Reading through the minutes from this Girdwood Board of Supervisors, it's saying on here that the Girdwood GBOS moves to adopt the following language from the LUC, whereas there is no evidence of official appointment or election of an FCC delegate from Girdwood since 2020. And then it says Girdwood has not had an FCC delegate since January of 2021. So I guess. So is that them saying that he wasn't elected or appointed as an FCC delegate, and that is that where he started, was recognized as a FCC delegate from Girdwood, and then when you get elected to a chair, are you now, does the chair not have to be a delegate?
So I am, would you like to respond, Mike, for Ari? Do you have that?
I can read the section from the bylaws that answers the officer's question, if that helps.
Okay.
Right. Officers may or may not continue to be current delegates from a community council. If a community council selects a new delegate to replace the officer, then the officer may not be a voting member, even if the delegate from the community council is absent from the meeting. So he would continue to serve as chair, but.
So I guess the understanding then would be, if we're to say that he was properly nominated and was an FCC delegate, then since wouldn't the new delegate replace the old delegate?
No, that's not what the bylaws say. The bylaws say an officer can continue as the officer, but they can't vote. So in this case, if should all things stay the same and nothing change, Mike could continue to act as chair, but he could never vote for Girdwood. Jen would be the voting member for Girdwood. And even if she was absent, Mike could not be the alternate in that scenario. It would always be Jen, and he would just be a chair of the former delegate from Girdwood, or however we want to. I won't get into that.
Can I clarify the other part of the question?
Yes, because there were two parts to that question, if you have the answer.
The first part, I think you stated that the language, so to clarify what happened at GBOS, the language which was introduced at the beginning of the motion was the language that said we had not had a delegate since 2021. That language was rejected by GBOS and replaced with language that just said we do not currently have a delegate, because I'd stepped back. So that's where we ended up, that there is no delegate as of November. And in future, the delegate would be the land use supervisor, which is currently a position held by Jennifer.
So I guess the problem in the minutes is there's probably a lot of discussion there that clearly people don't agree on what was actually portrayed in that discussion. You just have the motion and then the amended motion.
Right, but the amended motion does not have the same language as the original motion. So it's the amended motion which passes, not the original.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to Sylvia.
Okay, thank you. So I put in the chat a few questions because I still don't understand where the gap or the misunderstanding came in. I need to understand, if the GBOS is like one of our councils, right? Why are they not honored on the request? And I'm taking it a little further. This is like the FCC appointing a delegate for downtown without, some kind of communication from the chair of that council. I just don't understand where we drop the ball. How can, you have Girdwood saying that they never authorized this, and it's since 2021. I mean, we're going in 2026. So now another thing is, isn't the FCC made out of community councils representing their areas? So if you're going to have a chair sitting at the FCC as an officer, but they really cannot vote because they don't have a council behind them or a community behind them, can someone explain that to me, please, so I can follow through this? Thank you.
I can explain, or is it better for Ari to explain?
I don't have an explanation as to the why, I can read the bylaws again.
So
runs different.
So I can say, Sylvia, that with regards to this motion, Girdwood today, right now, has a delegate. It is Jennifer. And Mike is the chair because the understanding is that he was the delegate. He was the delegate when he was elected chair. He's the chair now. Our bylaws state that you don't have to be the current delegate to remain as chair. And I'm so sorry, I forgot the second half of your question. What was the second half? Oh, the second half of the question was, how can you be an officer if you don't have if you're not representing a community council? So our bylaws state that if you had previously been a delegate, you can remain in your officer seat, because we all elect our officers and our delegates at a different time. So this way the FCC can have their elections at our May meetings once a year, and that stays consistent. But that officer, if they're no longer the delegate, according to their community council, they wouldn't be a voting member of the FCC. They just hold their seat, their officership. Next up, I've got Michael Packard.
I was at the community council boundary board. I was part of that board. And when Girdwood came around, we were told that GBOS was more likely assembly and that the land use committee or commission, the LUC, was more like the community council. But it was kind of a problem because it was not really established who was really going to be part of the FCC and who was going to be at the community council. I argued that perhaps that we should make that distinction at this point in time. And it was argued that no, it's been working for 20 years and we're just going to leave it the way it is. And that was argued by the ombudsman. So, but unfortunately, this has created a huge problem. And I think we need to address it and finalize it so we're not spending every single meeting just going through this and never addressing what we're supposed to be addressing at the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks. Bob? I think it was Bob French.
Sorry, I did put my hand down. I would agree that I see this as an issue that Girdwood needs to work out. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like Mike was duly elected or he was valid at the time that he was elected, and can continue with a separate delegate from Girdwood. But like I said, I think our time is better spent dealing with FCC business and letting Girdwood figure out what they want to do.
Okay. Thanks. Jade.
Yeah, so just make sure I understand this right. Where we are now is that we have established that, as Charlie stated, at one point, when Mike was elected chair of the FCC, he was, at least at that time, recognized legitimately as the FCC representative from Girdwood. And then 2, these November minutes are saying that Mike is no longer the voting delegate from Girdwood. And 3, our bylaws have this continuity of officers. So like if I was elected chair because I'm the North Star delegate, and then I moved to South Edition and I'm no longer on the board of North Star, I can continue to be chair, serving this volunteer position, helping run this body. And I don't have to vacate my position as chair. And that's basically where the situation he is in. And then our bylaws also state that we'll be having an election in May for all the officer positions. So effectively all the first portion of this motion we'll be doing is removing Mike from his position as chair 4 or 5 months early.
And committees.
Yes, and committees.
Is that all correct? All the things I said?
Yeah.
Are tracking the facts? Okay.
That is my understanding. Yes.
I'm sorry, it's not correct.
Okay. John's got the floor, and then Jennifer.
I'd like to call the question.
Oh.
It's not
Okay. We need a second. Need a second.
Second.
Okay. John has called the question. Kelly has seconded this Oh, it requires a 2/3 vote to, okay, so it's a 2/3 vote, and then it's a 2/3 vote on the question itself. So can we do a roll call vote?
Yep.
This is to call the question.
Call question, copy that. We are voting if we want to call the question, which means stop debate and actually vote. Have it to Airport Heights.
Yes.
Yes. Batcher.
Yes.
Yes. Bayshore Flat.
Yeah.
Bear Valley.
Yes.
Downtown.
Yes.
Eagle River.
Yes.
Eagle River Valley.
Yes.
Fairview.
Yes.
Girdwood.
Abstain.
Government Hill.
Yes.
Midtown.
Yes.
Mountain View.
Yes.
North Star.
Yeah.
Northeast.
Yes.
Old Seward Ocean View.
Yes.
Russian Jack.
Yes.
Sand Lake.
Abstain.
Scenic Foothills.
Yes.
South Edition.
Yes.
Spinard. Taku Campbell.
Yes.
Turnigan.
Yes.
Turnigan Arm.
Yes.
University Area.
Yes.
We have 3 abstains and all yeses.
Okay, so we will vote. Reminder, this requires a 2/3 vote. I will read the motion. We are voting on the motion of the removal of the chair due to the fact that the chair was not a legitimate delegate at the time of his election to the chair position and because of unethical misrepresentation to GBOS and LUC and other delegates for over 5 years. His chairmanship needs to be terminated due to misconduct effective immediately. Furthermore, it is to be permanently ineligible to serve as a delegate or any other elected or voluntary member on the board of delegates for FCC board or any subcommittee of either because of his breach of trust.
Point of information.
Yes.
If the question has been called, we all voted yes. Can we make any amendments to the motion?
No, we have to vote on this one immediately.
Okay.
Right?
May I be recognized? This is Pam Rager. I'm sorry, I can't find my hand on this.
I'm sorry, I think Pamela, we have to move straight to a vote, right?
Yes.
Oh, you have a point of order?
I
Is that-
do. I'm going to ask to divide the question.
You're gonna ask to what?
To divide the question.
I don't
He
think,
wants to split it into 2.
but can we do that since
Vote on
we're,
something.
I want to divide the motion.
we can proceed.
Correct. So I want the motion to read, motion to remove the chair and then the rest of it to be the second part. I'm going to divide the 2 issues. The separation of removing the chair and then for further what does it say? I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time reading this from here. And then further for misconduct and termination to participate. And I'm just synopsizing because really I can't read it from here. So the 2 things would be to remove him, and then the other would be to expand that to not being able to participate.
Do you want it split right after motion of the removal of the chair or after the furthermore?
I think it's after furthermore, and you'll have to, if someone can help me from there. So the intent is to make it removal of the chair, and the second part is to remove him from participating at the board for any subcommittees or anything else. I think I want those to be to divide that motion in that manner.
For that is what I did, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna ask for some clarification from our parliamentarian on how to proceed on these two questions because now I am in the deep end.
So effectively by dividing the question, you're gonna take two votes. The first vote will be on the part that's now showing in red. The second will be a vote on the part that's in black there. The chair should make a determination if the second part is dependent on the first. Because if the second part is dependent on the first, then if the first fails, the second would make sense and therefore wouldn't get voted on. Or you might determine that the second part can stand alone, and if so, then you take two separate votes and either one or both of them could pass with it.
Are both 2/3 or are
They will both be 2/3 because the overall question was 2/3, so it remains.
Okay, bear with me a second, folks, while I read it and determine how I'm gonna proceed with that.
Was there a second for the motion for bifurcation?
No.
Oh, yes,
Or,
that was technically from the public that took for Fred. Okay, okay, I heard Jade
yeah,
next.
sorry, can we, can we bifurcate it again? Like, or can we somehow like have a competing motion to bifurcate it in a different way?
Does this have to have a second before we do that?
We've got one hand online and one hand in.
I have a point of order.
What is
For information.
what is your,
Do we have to agree to this bifurcation before we vote?
well, we have to have a second, correct? He's looking up that second.
This is getting, okay, deep.
Parliamentarian has to.
You guys are really working.
Wait, we have to get, okay,
Okay, sorry,
I have to start writing stuff down, okay.
I'm gonna take
John has a point of
It's good
information.
practice to take back to your community council, right?
Your point of information was,
So does the body have to approve this
Okay.
bifurcation?
Yes,
Do we have to vote on the bifurcation?
yes. And it's not a debatable division, but if there is an offer of a different way to do it, you can offer the amendment. And then if there's multiple ways to divide it, then we will vote on each of those on which way we're gonna divide it, then we vote on the
Chair, can I
pieces.
be recognized for a second?
hang on, you have a point of order or point of information?
No, I have a second on the motion from online.
So technically Jade had a point of information and then I can recognize Cliff.
If I am proposing a different bifurcation, could that be accepted as a good faith amendment by the person who originally proposed it? And then we can just move forward and not have to vote on which of the bifurcations we want to do?
Through the chair. Technically, no, but if you offered an amendment and the body is agreeable to it, you know, could be through unanimous consent or assent. You know.
The amendment,
Yeah.
okay. And would now be the time to offer that amendment?
No.
Technically, we need a second
I
on
would
it,
like.
which I believe someone would like to well, Jade just offered it.
Yes, there was also a second online from
Okay.
Cliff.
You offered it and then speak to it?
Yeah,
No,
Don't speak to, but if you have an amendment, you
Uh,
offer the amendment.
that's
yeah, I
right,
have an
that's right.
amendment to offer. My amendment would be to bifurcate it. To read motion, removal of the chair. And then the second half of it would be the rest of it.
So is it your intent to split this into three?
Sure, or two is fine, but, yeah,
I don't understand what your two are.
I get, the first sentence and the rest of it.
Oh, I see,
Yeah.
okay,
This,
okay.
red.
And just like, for everybody who's listening, I think to be frank, I think people are gonna be
Okay,
much
so
more.
we don't
agreeable.
actually debate it?
Oh, yeah, sorry,
but
sorry, yeah,
Do we need a second on that one? We need a second on the new. On the bifurcation, on the amendment, on the. This.
Everybody's opinion, it's not.
So we're doing two or three?
Okay, we should need a second. We're not debating. Any seconds? Not,
I'll second.
John seconds.
Okay, so we have three. Right?
No, we have
it's
two.
just two.
Two, copy. This,
That,
red and black.
yeah. Now we're not debating, now we're voting on this because the question is called.
You're voting on the
Yes.
amendment.
Voting on the amendments.
But we're voting on the amendment before we vote on the
Can we try?
whole thing.
Hand, I guess, do we want to be real call?
We're not.
Okay,
Okay, or we could ask if there's an objection. Is there an objection? You. Is there an objection to accepting this amendment? To divide it, so it is just the motion of the removal of the chair, part one, the rest of it is part two. I hear no objection. So now it is two questions. Give me 1 second while I figure out if they're dependent on each other. I think they're dependent on each other, but they would be voted on in the order that they are presented as opposed to flipping them in any other order. So we would vote as they are on screen. We're still not debating, right? And now we're voting on the first one. Requires 2/3. Roll call.
We
okay.
need to vote on the bifurcation itself.
No,
Oh, no, because we did that.
You
We were
voted on
like,
the
yeah, if there was
amendment.
any objections.
That's the objections to amending the plan, the dividing.
There's one more
So you
later.
still need one more, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did I miss?
Okay, so you asked if there are objections to amending
Uh-huh.
the division to this.
Okay,
No one objected to amending the division. Now there's the question is, should we divide it at all? We still have to ask that question.
oh, okay. 2/3? Or just majority?
Just majority of
Okay.
dividing.
Percent.
Are there any objections to bifurcating? And asking two questions. Are there any objections? Hearing no objections. Now, we are to the part where we vote on part number one. So the motion before us is the motion of removal of the chair. Please do a roll call vote.
Thank you. Airport Heights. Emily, you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, you're super quiet.
Oh, okay. I say no.
Nope. Thank you. Basher.
No.
Thank you. Bayshore Flat.
yes.
Bear Valley.
Can abstain.
Thank you. Downtown.
Abstain.
Eagle River.
Abstain.
Eagle River Valley.
Yes.
Fairview.
No.
Girdwood.
Yes.
Government Hill.
No.
Midtown.
Is this the motion
We
before us?
we are voting on the very first part in the red, motion of the removal of the chair. If you vote yes, you are saying yes to removal of the chair. If you vote no, you're saying no to removal of the chair.
Abstain.
Mountain View.
No.
North Star.
Yes.
Northeast.
No.
Old Seward Ocean View.
Yes.
Russian Jack.
No.
Sand Lake.
Yes.
Scenic Foothills.
No.
South Edition.
No.
Spinard.
No.
Taku Campbell.
Abstain.
Abstain. Thank you. Turnigan.
No.
Turnigan R.
No.
University area.
No.
Stand by.
The extensions. Okay, so.
Okay, so we had 13 yays, 6 nays, and 5 abstains. Abstains are no in a roll call.
It's part of the count.
Okay, so 13 to 6, no. No, the no's pass.
It doesn't pass.
It doesn't pass, it fails. The no's
Yes.
when it does not pass.
Because we did not get it.
It's 2/3.
Right?
And you can get that.
You might restate, because I think you might have stated it.
Incorrectly.
Yeah, you said 13 yays and 6 nays, and then you said.
No, 13 no's, 6 yays, 5 abstains.
Okay.
I don't think that's.
Motion fails, and the second part is dependent on the first part,
So we're not voting on that?
so we don't vote on it.
Next. So we're not.
Which means we move on to the next part of
We'll get the chair
business
back.
after I hand back the chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much for dealing with that. It's a learning exercise for all of us. Item number 3, discussion topic, budget. This is from the finance committee, so should I? Thank you, Kelly.
I believe
Sorry.
Ari, both of us.
Okay.
Yes, yes, as members on the finance committee, if you move past the minutes, you will come to first the letter. Going back to last meeting, we had a motion approved by the body where I asked the clerk if we could roll over the mailer funds, because if you are not aware, as of the last or 2 assembly meetings ago, I believe that they moved the community council boundary decisions now to January. Yay, rolling into a new year. So we won't be able to spend the money that you guys had approved. On the back of that letter is the approval from the clerk. They actually were much more generous, and they said any unencumbered funds from 2025 can be rolled over. At this point, it still will be the 3,500, but if we have some extra money, then we can just roll over the whole amount for the purposes of communications. So that was approved. Yay. On the next page, you will find our budget versus actuals through November. As a reminder, when you're looking at this, when you do budgets versus actuals, it only accounts the account through the month, right? So it doesn't include, it essentially takes everything that we would have, our full budget, and divides it by 12. So it doesn't have the amount for December allocated in the budget, so it's slightly lower. We are under budget. Great, yay. And then the page after that, that says Appendix C at the top is the quarterly report for Q3 that we provide to the grantor, which is the assembly. They, didn't have any comments, so we're all good. Everything looks good. We're doing all the great things on that. Before I move to my next point, Kelly, we paid payroll taxes? We paid payroll taxes. Did I miss anything that you wanted to cover?
Don't believe so. Somebody did have a question about 990s.
Oh, yeah. I think Sylvia emailed this question.
Yes. Sylvia, did you have a question about the 990?
I did 3 meetings ago or so. The question came about the 990s and how we, the board, are responsible for the physical notes of this council, the federation. So I asked if the board has seen the 990 tax returns, and somebody was supposed to get back to me and nobody has. So my question is, did the board actually see the 990 tax returns?
Yes. So I apologize, Sylvia. I am new to this position and we just had our first meeting where I could attend. And I was given the 990 from 2024. So I have seen it, I have looked through it, and barring anything that I don't know about, it looks good to me.
And Sarah signed off on it. You saw it, signed off on it.
Yeah, and Sarah signed off on it as well, yes.
As approved.
Does that answer your question?
Not really, but I'll accept it for now until I do a little bit more research. Thank you.
I have one more thing I want to cover, if that's okay, from Kelly. Sorry, trying to get all my screens in order. Okay, as staff, I'm asking I'm asking for maybe somebody to pick up a motion. We, underspent this year in our personnel line, just staff didn't cost as much as we were expecting. And a bit of like information when we built the 2024 budget. I was new in the position. We've learned when we were in 2024 building 2025, we were all learning a little bit about the budget. And so there's just been some wiggle room that we kind of built in naturally into 2025, expecting that. And so now I am asking for the body to potentially take up a motion and consider to approve the use of any unencumbered funds from the 2025 budget to be spent in either contractual services or outreach and training. That is generally website support, right? So we did this whole website rollover, and that has cost extra time in vendors and stuff. It also means that we can put in some money to buying some additional owl supplies. We wanted to buy a couple more things for the owl. We wanted to buy a couple additional tech things. This is, if you were here with us this time last year, we did something really similar. We had too much money in personnel, and we did a little like, yep, we can spend that money in these other places. The board has to approve 10% changes to the budget. So that's why it's coming before you. That's why I have to ask for this. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so we'll entertain a motion using that language if anyone would
You're
like.
welcome to edit it too. This is just me giving you something.
Without suggestion.
Yes.
Adrienne, I have a question if I could. I can find my little, I'm sorry, I can find
Kelly's
the,
moving it. Kathleen the second again. Thank you.
Oh, we have a question.
Question, Sylvia?
yeah, I did. So this is gonna go actually for services that you feel that is needed, correct? Adriana? Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
I can support that. Yeah, I can support that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
we have a motion in a second, John.
Point of information, what's the dollar amount that we're talking?
It's about 12,000. It's like, it kind of maps out. Sorry, I jumped in.
Recommend.
Apology. Some of it is like I like to add just little padding, so it's like a little bit extra that we aren't gonna be paying in taxes, a little bit extra and like we didn't in other things. So it's not just like staff line budget, it's like all the move downs, and then there was a little bit in like rent as well, where we like had a little padding, and so kind of it adds up to about 12,000.
How much?
12,000.
Michael, online.
Will we be voting on these items, or is this just gonna be like a slush fund?
We don't generally vote on like individual items like that. My understanding of the role of the board is to approve the budget, and then as staff, we execute said budget. We have questions.
And to clarify, these funds are being used before December 31st.
Yeah, I'm on a ticking clock.
So it's not next year, it's use the remaining funds for this. Fine.
Okay.
Do you have like any idea of what those are? And those are kind of vague. What would you be spending it on other than just sort of?
Yeah, I mean, these two particular lines are from our budget, like the name. So if you've been in meetings with us before, you know we have personnel services, we have contractual services, we have outreach and training, and we have rent and then other. So this is like all language from our budget, essentially.
Right, but what would it be going to? Because you're spending it very quickly. So.
Website support and like doing a little like prepaying for website support into the new year so that we're able to like access that. That's a separate account vendor for us. The buying some additional technology, filling in some supply gaps in other places. When we did this last year, it was like getting us ready so that if something random comes up, we're like a little bit on top of the ball and not behind. I like having a little extra money so that if anything comes up, we're always ready. And if there's any extra, because of the clerks, we can roll it over and use it in the mailers next year. And so, I will try to make sure as much as possible is available for the mailers. I just want to recognize that Tim has joined. Hey, Tim. Oh, he might be. Are you joining as the delegate for Rabbit Creek tonight?
I am. Yeah, sorry I was late. I just had another conflict.
No, you're so good. I just wanted to recognize him.
Yeah, thank you.
Any further questions on this motion?
Yeah, and question through the chair for Barry. I assume the purpose of doing this is to simplify the budgeting and the end of year accounting to have like a balanced budget this year rather than a surplus.
I try not to. Last year we ended up returning about $10,000. I try not to return.
Oh, because we return funds at the end of the year.
Yeah, if we doesn't, well, we don't necessarily have to because the clerk has given us permission, but generally in a show of good faith of like, we want to be good steward of taxpayer money. If we have extra money and we don't have a purpose for it, we return it. We did fully use the training funds for this year, which is great. We didn't use that last year, that like separate kind of grant of ours through the ombudsman. And so yeah, I mean, getting close to the number is great.
Kathy.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just historically, because I've been delegate on and off for quite a few years, our goal has always been to have a budget where our expenses and our revenue match up completely by December 31st.
Yeah. Any further questions?
I guess I will say, we will roll over next year because we have allotted at least 3,500 that will roll over. It will get counted in this budget when we won't be like fully closing books on 2025 until that money is spent. Just so the board is aware, but it will be kind of separate from our 2026 budget, dealt with separately and as part of that mailers. And I don't know how long the assembly is going to take. So hopefully by Q1, I can wrap that up.
Slightly preemptive. Any further questions on this? Comments? Okay. I'll make an attempt at seeing if we can do this by consent. Does anyone object to approving this motion? Okay, we'll do it by assent. I'm not seeing anyone online. Okay, thank you. So this motion passes. Okay, one more item, which is bylaw update, bylaw committee. Sarah, we'll take this one.
I can indeed. So I am the chair of the bylaws committee. So I can give a brief report. That there isn't much to report. We took all of the feedback that folks gave. And so what we're doing now is we're looking at the comparisons, what we have now, what's in the draft, and how does the feedback apply. We are about halfway through compiling what applies to what, like what the feedback applies to in the draft bylaws. So basically the homework for the committee was to draft, what we'd like to move forward with individually, still comparing feedback to draft to what currently exists. We have scheduled 2 additional bylaws committee meetings, one for Monday, December 22nd, and the next for January 5th. We will not have a revised version earlier than our January meeting. That is my update.
Please, question.
This might be a little broad, but not being part of a lot of these earlier on discussions, like, what was the goal? Why did we go through this massive bylaw rewrite? Like, was it just 1 or 2 things that really needed to be updated for something specific? Like, why did we just take the whole thing and throw it in the trash?
So we're not throwing it in the trash. We were looking at what needs to be revised, and we found about 10 things that could use an update. And it's up to this body to vote on those. So what we're doing is we're writing recommendations to move forward to the body, and then the body can vote on those. So there were things like the fiscal year, there's things like officers, delegates, like who's automatically the delegate, for example, if it's not in their bylaws. There were about 10 different issues. And so those are the points, where we got feedback, we're plugging those into, well, how does this fit into here? And then we'll, like I said, have a revised version no earlier than January, but we will have something that the body can vote on.
And I also, there on the bylaw webpage is the bylaw committee FAQ, which has like some of the historical information you might be looking for of like, when did the board decide to do this? How long did we, how long have they been working on
Yeah,
it?
I was just looking at like
Previous
what it
years.
was, what it is currently, and then the revision, and I'm like, this is drastically different.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
And they haven't been reviewed in 20 years. So there's things like
the fiscal year.
Yeah, the fiscal year and how notifications work, like email exists now.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? I'm not seeing any online. Okay, thank you very much. So we can now move on to part 2, into the coalition meeting. As a reminder, we take up our hats of being board members of a non-profit. And now this is about community council business, or community councils talking amongst themselves. We'll open the meeting, let's jump straight into the education topic. We are a little bit, we're like 12 minutes behind schedule, so let's try and keep this to 1 minute each.
If you're all set, just a little timer and give some reminders.
Okay, I'll go through.
Not here.
Okay.
What's that? Airport Heights.
Airport Heights, somewhere.
No updates from us. Thank you.
No.
Okay, Basha.
No updates.
Thank you. Bayshore Clat.
Oh, this is his first time.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Generally, if you have anything that you just want to share because this is a place for collaboration, then you can say like, we worked on this project, or this is what we're considering right now, or this is what we're talking about.
Okay.
So just if it's okay with you, Chair, maybe we can circle back if you think of something. So
Okay,
this is
sure.
your first time.
Yep. And typically, if we have a little bit of time, we'll allow other councils as well as those on the list to give any urgent updates. So you probably have the opportunity next month. Bear Valley.
I don't have an update.
Okay, thank you. Birchwood.
Not here.
I'm not.
No Campbell Park.
No Campbell Park.
No
Juliet.
Downtown.
Juliet. Downtown. Sylvia.
Well, I can briefly say that we have new opportunities downtown, new restaurants, new businesses. We have the arch that's up there now, the Mushing district. We also have the lights that are coming in throughout downtown for the holidays. We just had in Town Square, we had the holiday tree lighting with Santa Claus, which is something that is well attended by everyone in our community. And as far as the council, we just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Eagle River.
Eagle River, we just have one update. We are having our elections in January. And a Merry Christmas to everybody.
Thank you. And you. Eagle River Valley.
She was here. Eagle River Valley, you still there, Joy? There she is.
There we go. Is that better?
That's better. We can hear you. Thank you.
We have established a community emergency response team, and the team members have all been trained by the state of Alaska. And so we've been working for some time to get that team established. And our second issue is looking at some of the traffic issues we've had at the Nature Center. The road was improved some time ago, and now we have speeders who have been running into the concrete barriers at the Nature Center. And so we're working on that with DOT. That's it.
Thank you. And last Fairview.
Yeah, we, as usual, have a lot. So we hired a videographer to interview folks for the new Perseverance Community Garden efforts on January 14th. We're hoping that the video will be done in January, and it'll be posted to the website and social media for everyone to look at. Alan Kemplin received a call from the Muni Street Maintenance on the status of the snow fighters this year. So he's hopeful that the muni will finally coordinate with snow fighters so that it's easier for the group to plow. They had a lot of problems last year because of the snow berms being too hard to plow through. They would come by and they couldn't get through them. Merrill is finalizing their RFP to update their master plan. Earl Malpas, the airport manager of Merrill Field, stated that he wants to make sure that the Pell project does not prohibit their proposal to extend the north-south runway across 15th Avenue to accommodate instrument landings on this runway. So it's important for folks to give feedback early because this will have a huge impact on Fairview. If they want to extend the north-south runway, they're going to have to build a bridge over 15th, and they're going to have to take a lot of properties on Orca and Elchina area, Alan Kempler's house. Public Safety Committee wants to have some sort of emergency plan and contact list available on our website so that after emergencies, folks know where they can turn to for resources all in one area. And Eagle River Valley, I don't know if that's kind of what you were doing, but we should get together on that. Latest Reconnecting Fairview update. Design Week is coming in February. We're very excited about that. We're coordinating with the museum to have a lot of events throughout Fairview and downtown. More to come on the website. We laid on the table a resolution thanking NeighborWorks for all of their hard work in the Fairview area. And last but not least, Alan Kemplin is hosting a winter solstice block party, December 21st. From 2 to 5:30 p.m. Everyone's welcome. It's on his block of Orca and Fleet.
Thank you. We're pretty much on time, so I will offer the opportunity if any community councils have an urgent critical update that cannot wait. There's an opportunity now.
Could I add just one thing? This is Northeast Community Council.
Yes, who's quick, Pamela? And time critical, certainly.
I'm sorry, Mike, was that a yes?
Yes, if it's
Okay.
time critical, yes.
So though Northeast Community Council is on winter break, our committees are continuing to work, and our art and placemaking animal bike rack fundraiser is continuing, and they're doing a fine job with that. I'll let everything else go. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, right. I think we're done. So thank you very much. No, Kathy,
Oh, sorry, I'll share it in January.
We'll move on to reports now. So we will start with the Mayor's office. Graham.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here with you. I'm Graham Downey. I'm the Mayor's Deputy Chief of Staff. We also have Agnew Medvin here, who's we have very similar jobs. So we're both here. I'll try to be very brief, and I think both of us would be happy to answer any questions you all have about what the Mayor's office is up to, or concerns also welcome. Maybe I'll give you a big thing, a small thing, and a medium thing. The small thing today, as Sylvia mentioned, the mayor was up personally hanging snowflakes on street poles on 4th Avenue, which was pretty silly. And also we got her up on the ladder and everything. Really excited we were able to fund about 40 snowflake, 3-foot snowflake lights on 4th Avenue, which it is a very small, silly thing, but making downtown brighter, making it more welcoming, it really is the heart of our community. And so making sure that it's a bright, welcoming place, even on these dark days, is a big goal for the mayor. So that was an exciting little win for today. Medium-wise, I'm sure Anna will tell you more about what happened at last night's assembly, but one thing I know of concern to this group is short-term rentals. And last night, the mayor's ordinance that is going to require the registration of short-term rentals passed. Had some wonderful co-sponsors on that ordinance. Basically, it's going to require everyone operating a short-term rental to get a registration number. It'll be free. And then that'll help us collect data about where short-term rentals are so we can understand, are there disproportionate impacts on downtown or South Addition or Girdwood or any other neighborhood, and see sort of how much short-term rentals are impacting the housing market. So you may remember the assembly tried to collect this data last year as part of a tax ordinance. Turned out that didn't work for various legal reasons. So now we are going to start collecting good data on short-term rentals. So I think that's a big win for understanding what's happening in our city. But medium win, I guess. And then the big one that I know is on lots of your minds, I mean, I heard Kelly talk about it, and also our friends in Eagle River Valley, is pedestrian fatalities and traffic safety on our roads. We are at another record year for people dying on Anchorage roads. It's horrible and it can't continue. And it's not a new problem either. I think all of us know this is a long-standing problem in Anchorage, but we need to take serious action to prevent people from dying on our roads. We did do 3 things this year that I think are worth talking about. We had 14 miles of neighborhood greenways, may have been in your neighborhood. That was us taking low volume, low stress roads in neighborhoods, reducing the speed limit to 20 miles an hour and including signage to help people connect to trails. So the idea there is really quick, really cheap, really fast project that helps create an alternative to some of the scarier roads and also helps make those neighborhood roads feel more like neighborhood roads. So that was something we were able to do in less than a year at a tenth of the cost of a typical road project. So really excited about that. I think we're doing a better job of plowing the sidewalks than we've ever done before over the last 2 years. Maybe a low bar, but increased coordination between street maintenance and parks means we're plowing in a more rational way. You can track Luke Sidewalker or Side Clearer on uni.org/plow to see where that's happening. And then we were able to just work with the team to make sure that we're plowing the right sidewalks so that people can get to bus stops and get to work. So some incremental improvements there, more to come, I'm sure. And I also want to highlight that we reduced speed limits on Spenard Road and on Elmore Road, which is kind of the first time the municipality's ever gone in that direction. Typically, speed limits have been a ratchet in the other direction, increasing speed. So it's a new thing for us. We had to figure out how to do speed studies, how to make sure we're creating an appropriate engineering case for doing that, but promising, heading in the right direction in terms of speeds. I think fingers crossed, we hope to have more news about potential speed changes in the next year coming up soon. So we'll share more information about that. But obviously more to do in the next year to make sure that our roads are safe. And I think your feedback is very welcome. Doesn't have to be right now. I think you all should have my email address, but definitely something we'll need to tackle together here.
Okay, I think 4 questions, so we'll probably keep it to that now. Let's start with, I think you were first in the queue, sorry.
Is the mayor's office able to share how many community councils they attended and if they were able to achieve twice a year at every community council?
I don't have the data on that, but I don't believe that we did achieve that. So I think would be eager to hear from you all about if we missed you this year, please let me know and we'll work on correcting that.
Yeah, I would just say that was when Barb came and presented, I think in like January or February, that was what was told to us, but then the language kind of coming back was that community councils had to request the mayor's office to show up. And I think they were hoping for the twice a year showing instead showing up. So maybe some clearer communication from the mayor's office about what councils can expect would be great.
Okay, noted.
Okay, I think Steve had a question, but it's also been answered online about what roads are the greenways.
Yeah, Emily put the link.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I can add the link in our
Okay, great. Sarah.
Can somebody tell me what a snow fire is?
Oh, snow fire.
Oh, Luke Sidewalker.
Are they related?
No, they're not related at all.
Oh,
So
okay.
the Snow Fighting
okay.
program is a program that Alan Templin started. He got a grant,
Or the FCC.
through the, yes, yes. And basically they go around and they plow sidewalks in our neighborhood. They have a designated run that they do. Yeah, it's just a community grassroots effort and we're trying to get it obviously to be everywhere.
Okay,
And
so let's, okay.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
thanks.
But yeah, the community has not ever plowed neighborhood sidewalks. So generally it's the obligation of the property owner to clear the sidewalk. We clear the sidewalks on bus routes and hopefully more safe routes to schools and major roads.
And the snow fighter program was done with money from ARP to particularly help residents who are elderly and needed help. And so they bought like a snow plow and all of that stuff to be able to accomplish that.
I mean, like, still need for
Okay. Question from Tim online.
Thanks, Graham. Can you give us an update on what's happening at the mayor's office regarding the TISDO? That was put on pause, but it was also voted out of planning and zoning. And so this came up in our meeting this week, and people concerned that because it was moved out of planning and zoning, it could show up on an assembly agenda pretty much at any time. And I guess just wanting some clarification around what the pause is going to look like and what additional engagement that might be and what a timeline for that would be. What can you tell us about that?
a very reasonable question. I mean, the short answer is it is still on pause. It is still on hold. The assembly is always free at any moment to introduce any piece of legislation they would like, regardless of what planning and zoning has done or any, so I think mayor's office cannot and will not determine what the assembly does. I would be very surprised if they did that though, especially since there is going to be a process. So I was actually able to meet with some potential facilitators this week and talk about what it might look like to have around 4 big community conversations about how we get to 10,000 homes together. I think that doesn't necessarily need to be very tethered to the TISDO. I think the TISDO is trying to solve a certain set of problems. So we'll be bringing that problem statement, I think, to community members and seeing how do we solve that problem together? How do we build housing to make our city a vibrant place? And get ideas from you all about how we do that. So I think at least I would say 3 to 4 meetings, big town hall style, everyone welcome, lots of thoughtful ways of making sure everyone has a voice in those conversations, but more details to come. We're still planning those conversations. And until those are completed, certainly it would be on hold from our end.
Thank you. We had a question here?
Yeah, just a comment. I live like a 2-minute walk that way and walk along Spenard a lot and bike along Spenard a lot. And I've given the difference of the lower speed limit when I was waiting for the bus, etc. So it'd be good.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We did limited questions, but I'm going to allow Michael to ask a question as well. Neighborhood privilege.
All right, thank you, Mike. So I have a question. I don't live right in town, but I come to town fairly regular, and it seems like the roads have been in much worse shape this year. Did they not do any pothole filling this summer?
I think we might have actually done a record number of potholes this summer, but you're not wrong. I mean, one of the factors here is that we built almost all of our roads at about the same time. And by we, I mean the state. And that was about 30 to 50 years ago, which is probably the lifespan of a road. So we're definitely looking at a really significant perhaps $1 billion outstanding deferred maintenance liability on our roads, probably another $1 billion in terms of storm drain, which is even spookier because you can't see that, it's under the road. Those are big questions we need to figure out how to fund.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to assembly.
Could I have one quick question? If I could?
It's extremely
pretty quick. About the pedestrian fatalities, we had at our community council a presentation by DOT, and it was very simplistic. Basically, it was, not to be heartless sounding, but people are dying, we're going to reduce speed limits. That's it. And they're like, do you guys give your approval for this? And I was like, we have no data other than X amount of people in the entire city over the last year.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any good data that we could say where, what roads, because it seemed like the general plan from DOT was just reduce speed limits across the board, across all the Anchorage. And it was, I don't have any way to have an informed opinion about
quick
that.
question.
Okay. I'll try to be quick in my answer also. I think maybe there's a little bit of miscommunication there. I would be very surprised. I don't think anyone's planning sort of blanket speed reductions anywhere, especially DOT. In fact, they even have a policy about how they reduce speed limits requires a specific study that analyzes, is this appropriate on this road? Is it going to have negative impacts on other roads? So no, I don't think I think DOT maybe was bringing a simpler version of that in order to get generalized feedback on our speed limit reduction, something that the community supports in general. Not that that's going to be the one size fits all policy solution for the problem. DOT and Muni have just started this last year for the first time a really collaborative Vision Zero working group that is collecting lots of data about the causes and all the contributing factors to the crashes. So definitely that works being done.
We have access to the data.
Yeah, if you look, and maybe I can
Will
help
you
our-
send me the link and then I'll put it in the recap email?
Yeah, so that Vision Zero working group did an initial report, and then has done 2 follow-up reports on progress since then, over the last year. But it has the high injury network and where those accidents are happening, as well as some data about causing factors and what the potential solution might be.
Brian, I sent out a recap email with all the links, and his email all the emails for the presenters will be in there as well. So feel free to, at any point, ask more questions if Greg.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. We will move on to Anna Broadgate. Vice Chair Broadgate, the Assembly report. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. And thanks for letting me join on Zoom. So I'll give just a few updates and make a brief comment and then happy to take questions. So we did have our last meeting of the year last night on Tuesday, or at least presumably, knock on wood, last meeting of the year, last regular meeting of the year. So we got a bunch of business done. Graham already touched on the short-term rental registration. We also approved the next decade-long contract with Visit Anchorage to do tourism promotion, and I'm excited that there's some new responsibilities in there, working with the Sister Cities Commission, which is our kind of gateway to peer cities in other countries, and also doing some projects that are essentially going to be improvements, or destination management is one of the terms that folks use now in economic development, that benefit both visitors and residents. So improvements downtown could be things like a shuttle, right? The wayfinding, all kinds of things that help all of us, not just downtown. But anyway, so some of the funding, because as you know, our bed tax has been very successful over the last several years. And I see there's a question about Canabasca. I'll get to that one. So we also approved a bunch of other contracts or extensions, or things that need to get done by the end of the year and into January. I think my update last year, or last month, it was on the budget from the November meeting. So just kind of carrying forward some of those pieces. And then a couple other things happened. The Canabasca license / Alaska Sense. I know that one's been of great interest and contention in the Midtown area. So essentially, what's happened is right now the Marijuana Control Board has opted to not renew their license at the state level. And I'm going to give you the very, very short version because it's very complicated and I don't have all the details. But essentially, there's a local license and a state license. And so there is a pending transfer, or at least there is an intention to have a transfer in the future. We heard from the kind of owner, the petitioner, and so their plan at this point is to go back to the state marijuana control board, deal with some taxes, and really a lot of the issues at the local level that we're dealing with smell, dealing with other issues, have been resolved in terms of where the muni sits over the last several months. So right now that license is not allowed to operate. Of course, it's still in the middle of that process. So what we essentially did was say that we have a conditional protest on that license, pending basically knowing the outcome of that transfer and the Marijuana Control Board's decision of what to do with it. So it's in a holding pattern right now with some legal issues to resolve. But anyway, that's kind of I don't know if it's the end of that saga, but it's the kind of the next chapter in the story of that license. So a few other things that happened. We have, as I've said before at this meeting and shared, there were 4 revenue proposals on the table being considered potentially for the April 2026 ballot. So 2 of those are now off the table. One is the 1% sales tax that was proposed by Member Martinez, was postponed indefinitely. And then we did take a vote on the short-term rental tax sponsored by Chair Constant and Member Voland to tax short-term rentals, things like Airbnbs, 5% additional. So that was voted down 4-8. There are still 2 options that will come back on the next meeting for consideration. So the 3% sales tax from the mayor's office, and then I had proposed a 2% bed tax increase. Again, all of these are swirling around this big discussion of how do we pay for the city that we've built? And I know there's a live discussion there as far as, do we need new revenue? What kind of revenue would we need for what problems? Do we need to cut spending, and where would that happen? How does that impact services, right? These are all kind of big swirling discussions. One other thing I'll share from last night's meeting is we had a robust discussion and a narrow vote to update the municipal seal. There was a lot of discussion about that, and I know a lot of feelings about that too. And so that will get rolled out over time. I know there was a lot of concern about cost, but really it's a matter of if you're printing a document or you're printing something in the future, whether it's got the old seal or the new seal on it. So, and I should also clarify, the seal is different than the flag. Of course, the image on both of those things has been the same, or at least has been the same for the last few decades. But that is something that's separate than from the seal. So lastly, I'll just share a comment and then happy to take questions. Kind of watching a lot of a lot of what's been happening over the last year or so, and probably more than that, more than that, and setting aside kind of what's been happening at the national level and all of our troubles at the state level, I just want to say to this group that I worry about this community, and what I worry about is whether and how we are going to make really big decisions about the huge challenges that are before us. I think there's fiscal challenges. There's questions about things like land use. Really, what does the built environment of our city look like? And it feels like there's, and I said this last night on the record, I think there's a lot of kind of a culture of dysfunction and conflict, and it is easier to say no to things than it is to say, how can we get to yes? And I think that is a something that we should all grapple with. And I'm not saying that the things that I shared just now are good ideas or bad ideas, or that there is a correct answer to these things, but I think we will have to find a way forward. And from where I sit and the experience that I've had in this community, I am extremely worried that we are going to really struggle to find a way forward if we cannot, I guess, find some ways to come to basic agreement and find a path forward, and find ways to work through what I know are some very big disagreements in this community and different thoughts about where we want to go. But I think that's really a challenge to all of us. I think as we go into the new year, how do we find a way to collectively govern, to work together, to work through our disagreements, and make some big decisions that are about to be before us, whether we like them or not. And so I know that's a sobering thing to say here at the end of the year, but I just have to be honest. I am very worried. And I would hope that all of us think about how we can contribute to making a productive and having productive discussions in the future. So happy to take questions on any of what I said.
Thank you. We have a question from Pamela.
Yes, Anna, can you give us an update on the community council boundary report? Was it passed last night, the status?
No, so that was postponed to the meeting of January 13th, because I know there's been there's a few specific places in there that there's still discussion about kind of how to move forward. So we wanted to have the time to prepare amendments, and so I am personally not working on an amendment myself right now, but I know that was the ask. So I would check in with the representatives in your area who are potentially working on something.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chris?
Sorry.
Sorry. You got a name, Christopher.
She's
I have a question about the Canabasca license. You're right, it is of great interest to Midtown Community Council, and I just want to make sure I heard you right, that you said the smell had been resolved.
Yeah, so to my knowledge, that was one of the conditions, and I have not been very closely involved in this, but there was, they hired a contractor. If you go to the packet, our meeting packet, there's a long list of things. We also heard from the Midtown Community Council president that they understand there's a transfer happening, and so right now that license can't really operate. And the reports that we have gotten from folks who were doing smell testing, there's a whole report in there, shows that it is not as bad as it used to be, I suppose. So if you're having a different experience, I think that'd be helpful to reach out to the clerk's office and let them know, and the Marijuana Control Board.
We have, and that has been, and the state has denied their license or not given them their license. Is that what you were saying? Not renewed their license? Did you say that?
Yeah, and again, I'm not the one who's going to have all the detailed information, but my understanding is the Marijuana Control Board opted to, at this time, not renew the license. There's a tax issue that they need to pay, but I understand it's not a settled issue, and so it's likely to come up, I think not at their February meeting, but at hopefully the April meeting, because there's also a transfer of ownership that is potentially pending.
So they are effectively shut down. Is that the result of that?
Yes. Yeah, for the time being.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't see any more questions, so thank you very much, Anna. We will move on. Oh, sorry.
Quick question, Kathy Gleason, Anna. Some of us from Turnagain Community Council followed from day one the legalization of marijuana in Anchorage. So we're talking 10 years ago, and attended every work session, every hearing, every community meeting on the discussion. And it was made very, very clear, very, very adamant that there should be zero tolerance of odor outside of any kind of facility. Any odor, not it's better than it was. And so I would hope that this assembly at this point in time maybe go back into records to refresh memories or get educated of what promises were made and is in writing that the community would not be subjected to any of those smells from any cultivation, manufacturing, or retail. And I think we need to hold our leaders accountable for that when they make decisions about these businesses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Do you mind if I just, so I would say, I would definitely talk to the folks in Midtown Community Council if you're interested in that whole story, because I genuinely was not, I've seen it come on the agenda. I've not been involved deeply. However, I do know the action that we were able to take last night was the license right now is not allowed to operate at the state level, and the conditional protest that we passed is really to resolve those things. And I think the question of what happens with the local license is another thing that would come up if and when that license is actually transferred. So what was on the agenda last night was pretty specific, but yeah, but heard.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the school board. Carl Jacobs is with us. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Carl Jacobs here with the School Board. Just a quick update for you tonight. Like our Anchorage Assembly, the board had met for the last time for this year. It was fairly uneventful as our big ticket item regarding right sizing of school closures was failed to be adopted by a vote of 3-4, and then by a vote of 1-6. The two elementary schools that were proposed for closure. Last night we adopted our capital improvement plan, which outlines the next 6 years of potential school bonds. I'll be briefing the Federation at a future meeting as we get closer to the April municipal election regarding the bond as a refresher item. The one outstanding item where ASD could use continued assistance and engagement is regarding our Balancing Act software tool that allows anyone to take a look at the deficit that ASD is projected to have for the FY27 budget, which would begin and effectuate July 1, and would ask you to engage in using that software to provide feedback as to where reductions can be made, should be made, and what areas to retain funding and services. We'll use that data and corroborate that data to make informed decisions as we review the administration's budget and engage in proposed amendments, but that work won't begin in earnest until early to mid-January. The link to access the Balancing Act software is asdk12.org/FY27, asdk.org/FY27. Those are the updates I have at this time. Appreciate the Federation's time and attention this evening.
Thank you very much. I see 2 questions online. Tim, go ahead.
Thanks, Carl. Hey, at our community council meeting this week, we had a teachers union representative from South High School in attendance who indicated that the negotiations with the teachers union over contract were not going well, and that the teachers union was heading towards a strike before the end of the school year. And that was really the first I've heard of that, and had not really seen much media coverage of it. So I guess I'd like the perspective from the school board. And how concerned should we be that there might be a strike before the end of the school year?
Sure. The board isn't engaged and isn't involved directly in negotiations. And so I don't have a ton of insight for you there. I will say that there's been significant media coverage from Tim Rocky with the Anchorage Daily News, I believe, which occurred within the last 30 to 45 days. Was a really good article. what I understand of the process is that we are in the arbitration process right now. The arbitrator will issue their opinion at the end of that process. However, it's not binding arbitration, and so the parties can choose to take the recommendation of the arbitrator, who looks at the two sides of proposals and then makes either sides with one side or can choose to engage in kind of a hybrid and propose a intermediate resolution to the contract negotiations. And if either party chooses not to adopt the proposal by the arbitrator, the union could vote to hold a strike. I don't have a ton of insight as to how the discussions are going, again, because the board isn't directly involved in those. What I'll say in general is, and I think the underlying challenge is that before any significant new investment is made in any contract or collective bargaining agreement, I think our school district has a deficit of over $80 million for FY27. And so every new expenditure we add to our budget will equate to a loss of equal amount somewhere else in the budget. And so I know administration is trying to carefully negotiate a contract that honors educators' work, while also being mindful of the fiscal situation in Juneau, who, our legislature, I think it's well known by everyone in this Zoom room and in there in person, pays over 50% of ASD's budget. We've been told in no uncertain terms by elected officials who will be part of the coalition to address education funding that a new and permanent increase to address the chronic underfunding is not likely to pass, and a cost of living adjustments, which wouldn't equate to a substantial change in funding, might be the best case scenario. And that's due in no small part to the fact that the state's fiscal picture is so bleak. We're very dependent on the volatility of oil prices and earnings from the permanent fund, which isn't a sustainable plan, as we've found over the last 10 plus years. And so education's kind of been the canary in the coal mine in that way. And for the next 12 months, while we have a governor who's in his last year in office, and the legislature, many of whom are going to be up for election or reelection, productivity out of Juneau to address education funding, it's going to be challenging at best. And so help isn't necessarily on the way, and our current fiscal situation requires significant adjustments to align revenue with expenditures. And so all that to say, I certainly appreciate why educators would be frustrated. I'm frustrated for educators, and we have to figure out as a state how to attract and retain the educators that we have and the educators we need.
Thank you. Question from Pamela, and then we'll move on.
Yes, so we had one of the budget people from the ASD at our November meeting, and she showed a number of things, answered a number of questions, and gave us the tool to play with, so to speak, when we were there. Just wanted to let you know that it's very limited in the ability to take in information, so adjusting was almost impossible, and so maybe that needs to be looked at. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Pamela. That honestly, it's the first time I've heard that feedback in the 2 years we've been utilizing the tool, but it is noteworthy, and I will bring that back to the administration. For what it's worth, I think multiple school districts and even the municipality of Anchorage have looked at the tool and found it to be helpful. But I'll note that you've had challenges with it, and if you're interested in having assistance utilizing the tool, you're welcome to send me an email. I'd be glad to connect you with resources. Thank you again for the opportunity to present tonight, and I hope everyone has a happy holiday season.
Thank you very much. We'll move on. I don't think there's anyone here from planning, but I just wanted to ask. I don't recognize everyone. Okay, in that case, we'll move on to item number 4. I think we promised you 25 minutes. You're not going to get 25.
No, I never do. I'm so excited. I just want to talk a little bit about 2 programs that we have coming in the new year. So 1976 is the creation of the Federation of Community Councils. There's a lot of dates around the 70s, but we didn't want to take 75 because that's when the union does their stuff. So to have our own special year, we're going with 2026, 50 years of community councils. I'm so excited. I've been going through our historical record, and this kind of 50 years of community councils is going to influence all of our programming for the next year. So our theme for our summit, which I'm also going to talk about, focuses around that like 50 years as well. We're going to have fun historical facts coming on social media, our like neighbor to neighbor, our weekly newsletter is gonna become the neighbor to neighbor newsletter, which is a reference back if you ever got the old ones. And we've digitized all of those, and so we're gonna get them up on the website hopefully soon. So just kind of like plethora, celebration. If you have something in your community council that you want to think about in the history, recognize, work with us on. I've got so many like fun little stories as I've been reading through Neighbor to Neighbor from all the various community councils. I would love to collaborate individually with councils. I need that kind of help to do some of this fun stuff. But my hope is that kind of over the next 12 months, you'll see this logo a lot. You'll see us talking about 50 years. We're going to work on a resolution of recognition of 50 years with the assembly. So just lots of like fun celebration of community councils and the amazing civic engagement work that has been done. I mean, just like truly in conversations that I've had with other cities, like Anchorage has such a unique model that really has been such a saving grace to us in so many ways. I could go literally on for hours and hours about how community councils are great. So I wanted to talk about that. And then I also just wanted to plug once again, Charting the Course is our 2026 Leadership Summit. We have announced some of the speakers. Lem will be with us to talk about Robert's Rules of Order, so you'll be able to ask all of your questions. Dr. Terry will be back to talk about ethics. If you were with us last year, you remember we had a great conversation. Anchorage historian David Reamer is going to join us and give some of those facts and images of the history of community councils. We have Dr. Olberding from Northern Kentucky University. She has studied community councils in Cincinnati and has some really amazing research that she's going to share with us about what makes community councils successful. And then Assembly Member Baldwin Day will be doing a facilitation, welcoming new members at the end. All of that agenda stuff's going to come together. I'm also excited the mayor and Assembly Chair Constance will also be giving some remarks as well. So really excited. This year has kind of like bloomed. I hope that just means in the future we'll have bigger and better as this kind of grows. This is only our second year, so bear with us as we're still getting our feet underneath us. But please, you should have seen the weekly newsletter. We've been putting this out on our website, all sorts of places. Please sign up. It is free. I will say it's aimed at community council leaders and officers. It is open to the public as long as you come with a ticket. But the idea is current and future leaders. So if somebody's never been to a community council meeting and they come, this might be a little confusing for them because we're going to be answering like the questions from this room, right? And of course, if you have new members who are maybe thinking about leadership, this is a great position to bring them in to help them collaborate, have those conversations, feel comfortable that it's not a big scary thing to be an officer, right? You're just one volunteer working with a bunch of other volunteers. And so we want to honor that work, recognize that work, and help people feel really empowered in that work. So, and if you want to do any little amount of volunteering, I don't know, help us, check people in or help with food, just small stuff. Let me know. Info, community council stuff. Or, yeah, I had so much more to say, but I'm going to cut it short because our presenters are here and I want to honor their time.
Okay, thank you. Any specific questions on the summit or the 50th anniversary? Yeah, not serious. Okay, thank you. So we have our final education topic, which is the Good Neighbour Fund. We have 7 minutes. I'm going to actually ask us to preemptively extend the meeting by 5 or 10 minutes to give a little bit more time for that presentation. If anyone would like to
move to extend the meeting to 7:10. No, 8:10.
8:10. 8:10. I'll ask you for a second. Thank you. Any objections? Okay, 8:10 it is. Thank you. Please, we'll do the Good Neighbour Fund now, and you have 16 minutes.
So I had the abbreviated version because I saw the clock. So here's a sign. Okay, thank you. We are online. So I just looked at a resolution that I had created for this Federation of Community Councils. And I realized that I've been working on this fund as a solution for the community councils since November 10th of 2011, 14 years ago. And on that resolution I was sitting at my desk at Allen and Peterson in Midtown, and I saw the homeless folks down below. I thought there's gotta be a better way. And what can I do? And I've been working for 14 years to find a better way. And I believe that we finally found it. This is one of the solutions for it. That's how significant that this is for it. And in particular, you've seen people on the street corners. You're wondering who's going to come up and help them. You would like to help yourself to give them some money, but you know that there's maybe a better way. Maybe someone else could do that for you. We had 6 hours of testimony in July that when the ordinance was there to arrest those who were camping on parks and so on. Everyone says there's got to be a better way. This is that, a better way. It's really that significant. We had a launch, I don't know how to say it more than other than we launched it a month ago. And just yesterday, we had over 200 donors and $112,000 through donations in the last 2 months to the fund. I'll tell you what this is, what this fund is. Has anyone not heard of the Good Neighbor Fund? It's been in some of the news articles a little bit for it. The Good Neighbor Fund is a fund of community-given money, voluntary money for our frontline outreach workers. And you probably heard from Ruth and Tanya, maybe from the APD's Hope Team. They, when you report a camp in your community council, they are the ones who go out to those camps with a team of outreach workers, Kathleen and Emily from Restorative Reentry Services, and they actually engage with folks. And this is a fund that they use. 100% of the donation goes for them to use on real solutions. And I'll let Thea mention some things that we just did and some other things that she might mention. But I'll give you an example. Yesterday at Town Square and at Petrovich Park, they use this fund. In fact, I'll let Thea say that, but they use this fund to help clear the folks from there, to engage with them. And 4 of them got put into housing, temporary housing, to work with them further last night, yesterday, for it, using this fund for it. They've been able to get IDs for folks and to get them to be able to fly home. They've been able to use 100% because we cover the fees separately. They're invited to work back and give back to the community for what they receive. And it goes to support care plans that are created with each individual for it. So I just want to let you know that if you're wondering about how to solve homelessness and a way to do it, that this is a tool that was started 14 years ago for your community council. And I'm happy to come out to your community council and tell you more about it. But I want to give Thea some time to tell you some of the things that she has to say about it.
My name's Thea Agnew-Medvin. I'm one of the mayor's special assistants. I focus on homelessness, health, and community safety. So as Kenny mentioned, the municipality is doing probably more. I don't want to say more. I think what we're doing right now is a much more integrated and coordinated approach to really focusing on people who are in our communities. As you know, when the mayor came into office, we had camps all over the community, really. And, we focused a lot on really clearing camps. One of the mayor's big goals is to have way fewer people sleeping outside because there's really no way to sleep outside here that's safe for people. And so over the past year and a half, we really now are to a point where we don't have any big camps. This time last year, we still had Davis with probably 100 people in it and a number of other locations. We really don't have those anymore. We do have a few smaller ones that we're monitoring, but partly what that's the success of that really is what Kenny just described. So whenever we're going in to address a place where there's an encampment, Ruth and Tanya, other outreach workers, Kathleen and Emily, are going in there first and really engaging with people. And I've started to use the term relentless engagement because that's really what it is. This morning, Kathleen told me about somebody who's been outside for 10 years who went inside for the first time yesterday. So it really takes a lot of relationship building and engagement to build enough trust where somebody is willing to take a step. And even though through, all of our tax dollars and all of the work that the assembly and the mayor has done, we are supporting a functioning system. And I can tell you that the budget that the mayor put forward this year for the expenditures around shelter and outreach and those types of activities, we basically flat funded it. We're just a little bit less general fund than we had last year and a little bit less alcohol tax fund than we had last year. So we're just trying to use the funds as that we're able to make available use it as efficiently as we can to serve as many people. And so what's really fantastic about the Good Neighbor Fund is it just is helping us all around the edges. So for people who aren't going to come into shelter, they've had bad experiences, they can't handle being in a congregate setting. I had a guy in my office on Friday who was like, I can't go because I've got this knife belonged to my brother, I can't give it to anybody else. So unless they'll let me come in with the knife, I can't go. And I was like, well, you can't have 150 people each with a knife, right? That's not gonna work. So anyway, he ended up going into a hotel with Good Neighbor funds. And it doesn't mean that he's gonna be there all winter. It gives him a certain time limited period where he's gonna work with our outreach workers and figure out what the next step is. So we're very supportive of this. We really wanna see people engage with it and embrace it. I think part of what it's also doing is giving a very direct way for you to be involved with solving this problem. It really does take all of us to solve. And it's also a really hopeful thing. I mean, the fact that we've had this amount of response to it, to me, shows that we're a very caring community that really wants to see positive outcomes for people. And we're willing to put some money towards that. So that's wonderful. So any contribution from $5 to, I think we just got a $15,000 contribution from somebody
Yesterday.
yeah, so it's pretty amazing. And maybe just one other little slightly unrelated update I'll just give you is we also, another project that we've been working on that's coming to fruition is our micro units project. And that we did a ribbon cutting for last week. It only took us 90 days from when we signed the contract with the contractor to get to the ribbon cutting. And that's going to be 24 units. By the end of December, we'll have another 8 units. So it'll be 32 units before it opens. It's going to be operated as a behavioral health treatment program. And so once we've provided some funding to start up the program from the opioid settlement fund, so not tax dollars. But once the program's up and running, it will run with billing revenues. So it will not cost the municipality anything to operate that program in the micro units. And so that's another opportunity for people to check that out and think, hey, maybe I could put some micro units somewhere. And if you want to do that, contact me. So
one of the things that I was thinking, and I couldn't have done this without Thea's endorsement, because Thea was able to, with the mayor's office, go to the Alaska Community Foundation. I've been trying to find someone for much of these years who would hold on to the money, that you would trust to hold on to the money. And so with the mayor's support, the Alaska Community Foundation took on the fund. And so they now manage to make sure it's spent properly, that it's accounted for. And then, like I said, that we have someone else who covers all the fees for it. So 100% of your money goes to the frontline workers to deal with an actual experience. And I first started doing this. I spent last year 2 months at Fairbank Street over by Home Depot in Midtown. And I spent most of the time there. And when the police, Ruth and Tanya came, they needed to move people out of there. And so one guy couldn't get his car started. He says, I could go buy some gas for them and a car starter. And we did. We got it started. He was able to move. And we helped moving that. When we took down Sullivan, Kathleen was there. She says, I can't get everyone out of here. So we paid for the cab rides that people could leave Sullivan when they disbanded that. And then just this summer when they were at North Russian Jack, when everyone moved there from Davis for it and they were disbanding it, the police came in. They says, how do we get folks out of here? And that's when I realized that we really need to step up and give them resources that they could use in moments like that. And so that's really when it caught the city's attention, I think, is when we actually were helping the move folks out of the camps and out of your areas into somewhere safer. And so it's pretty impressive. And so I just want to conclude that what got me off my chair 15 years ago was an idea. And the idea was not just the fund, but how to give to the fund. And so I just want to give you a personal opportunity to consider taking the meal challenge. It's something that everyone in your community council can do. They give up a meal or two a month and give the value of that food not eaten to the fund. That's it, maybe $5, maybe $10 each month. It's a unity fund. It's where we draw and help each other out. You give all your donations this month to someone else. But they would say give to this fund, but I say give to someone else. Give a sacrifice offering each month, $5, $10 every month. If 300,000 people gave $5, we'd have $1.5 million a month to be able to take care of moving people off the street successfully. And so one of the things that this comes from, and I'd love to share this with you for just a quick moment, which is the concept comes from Isaiah 58, an old 2,500-year-old principle. It says, is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness and to undo heavy burdens, to let the oppressed go free and break every yoke, both ours as a community of givers and receivers. And then this, is it not fasting? Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out into thine own house? You seize the naked and you cover him, and hide not thyself from thine own flesh. That's the charge that's somehow tied to this, which is kind of cool. But the promises for a community, you shall raise up foundations of many generations, repair the breach, and restore a path to dwell in. I just think that this is something that will actually rejuvenate an entire community. They're doing through this way to help those in need in small ways. And so it's working. People are responding to it. And I'll come do the same presentation to any of your community councils and go further for it. So join the movement. Thank you. Thank you.
We have maybe questions, if that's okay?
Oh, I don't know. That was it. That's all I had.
I'll start with Sylvia online.
Sylvia.
Kenny, Thea, thank you for all the work that you do. I appreciate you guys. We've worked together for many, many moons now, so thank you. Kenny, I appreciate what you're doing, your hard work. I would love for you to come and present to my council if that's possible. And I wanted to ask you, how did Town Square, the kickoff, how did that go for you? I know Arbor was there because he said that he was with you, but I want to know from you, was that something really good? Was it positive? Did you get to raise money?
I was just looking at my notes from the Town Square, and on that day we had 25, this is a month ago, we had 25,000 in the fund and 60 donors. And so in the months since that time, we've gone from 60 to 200 donors and from 25,000 to $112,551.42 as of a moment ago. On track. And so as a result of that, if you look at the Good Neighbor Fund Anchor Alaska right now, you'll see a daily news article, public radio, and a KTU that explains it. You go to the website that tells you how it's spent. So Sylvia, and also thank you for whoever you influenced to get the elevator in the Fifth Avenue Mall down in your district. So thank you for that. But someone told me today that a flyer is hanging in the elevator. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, my question is my question is basically about the logistics. So how do you, what's the rubric to identify oh, this counts as something that we would use this cash for, and then how is it distributed?
Yeah, so on the website, you'll see a frequently asked question and answer. Some of those things too, which is great. But the official way is that it goes into the fund. And as we're setting this up, each of the outreach workers has a credit card that they can, when they see someone, that they could go to the hotel and pay for them, or go to the gas station and pay for them, or go to the airlines and pay for them, or go to the DMV and pay for an ID for it. And then that is reported back to the Alaska Community Foundation. They check it against to make sure it's they're the authorized ones, and that it's according to the standards of about 6 items for an outreach situation. So this isn't for emergency rental assistance. No one applies for this money. They see someone on the street, you call someone in on the street, and they go respond to your call. They use this fund to respond. So it's like hiring your own community council outreach workers. It's fantastic.
And I guess the other logistical part is that really the way our system is working now. I mean, honestly, 24/7, we are engaging with people. We have people at the safety center downtown that we're helping move into shelter. We have people outside that we're trying to bring inside. So the engagement is happening continuously. And this is really part of our the kind of warm padding around the edges, because when we can't get folks into one of those options for all these different reasons, this allows us to kind of take another option. And when we do help people fly home, which we've done frequently, sent people to Minnesota, to a lot of folks in the lower 48. I mean, you wouldn't believe the stories of how people end up marooned here. Like we just had a guy this week, this cult, come from Helena, Montana. He's in his 60s. He came with a sleeping bag to live outside here. So yes, this happens. I had a guy in my office who had recently had a stroke, and he really needed to get back to Minnesota. I mean, so these stories happen all the time. And whenever we can help one of those folks get back to somewhere safe, we then make that shelter bed available for somebody else. So it really does help us keep people moving, which is the goal. We don't want people staying in shelter for extended periods. We want them moving to safer, better locations for themselves.
I comment on that too. Ruthia asked me when we started this fund 2 months ago, the community foundation getting established. She says, what happens if a lot of people give to it? What are we gonna do? I says, this was created for the community councils, that someday that each of you might be deciding with your bringing money, how you want to spend in your own neighborhood. That was my vision all along. So when it gets big, this is meant for you guys to be as your neighborhood leaders, to be able to create, bring in money to the fund and to decide, not decide, but to be involved in how it's used. You don't want to be the decider because you're gonna get a lot of requests. So we're grateful for those, but someday I anticipate a section of this for each of your community councils. And that's my vision, at least, of someday.
Okay, thank you. We've hit the end of the meeting. So if there are any other questions you could ask, maybe you could ask afterwards.
Well, this would benefit everybody.
Okay, well, let's do it
Quickly, if
publicly.
you could,
The meeting is now adjourned.
okay, if you could create a document that could be sent out with our email notices on those meal challenge and the container fund.
On the agenda page, but we'll make sure it makes it into the recap. They just didn't make it into the packet because I didn't.
Okay, but I
they're-
mean, just electronically, that we can have it as an attachment with our email. notices.
Yeah.
My main copy.
I was supposed to have the school copies and there was a miscommunication, but we will make sure that, yes, it has
the meeting.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you.
Happy solstice, happy New Year.
Happy holiday.